Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, guys, let me introduce myself first. My name is Yusbik Helmi. I am the student of STKIP Sheikh Mansur in the third semester in English Education Department. Well, in this short video, I would like to explain about my material, my reading task. It is synthesizing. So before we are going to talk about anything of about synthesizing, we have to know, we have to understand what synthesizing is. So we have to read or look to the definition of synthesizing. So let's go. Definitions of synthesizing. Synthesizing is one of the most challenging reading strategies for students to master, simply because it requires students to use multiple skills and strategies together. In fact, the prefix "syn" means together. Synthesizing a text is a process of pulling together background knowledge, newly learned ideas, connections, inferences, and summaries into a complete and original understanding of the text. So, from this definition, we can know what synthesizing is. It reminds us about some material that we have learned. It seems like the other strategies of reading, because synthesizing is the strategies as well for reading a text. The most challenging reading strategies for students to master, and synthesizing have and the student have to master, have to know, have to understand about synthesizing. Why? Because it's very important for them to understand about some text or paragraph. It seems like concluding text or summarizing. But maybe we think that synthesizing, what is the difference between synthesizing and the other strategies of reading? It's like summarizing or concluding. It is different, but it's not really much different. Why? Because these two strategies have relations. Synthesizing almost seems like concluding or summarizing. But if we read a text and we take the mind point of those that text, it means we are conclude the the text. But if you read a text and we make a summaries of the text, it means summarizing. So synthesizing is combining of those two strategies of reading. It's unity of those two strategies. We have to make summarizing, and we have to make a concluding of a text, and we combining it into into some paragraph or some text by our own mind or our own sentences in paragraph. So it calls synthesizing. It is the combining of those two strategies in a text. So every single things created with a purpose. So that's synthesizing as well. Synthesizing has purpose. So what is purpose of synthesizing? So the purpose of synthesizing is text process pulling together background knowledge, newly learned ideas, connections, inferences, and summaries into a concrete or original understanding of text. So synthesizing is the purpose of synthesizing is make a text more make students easier to understand a text because it is the combining of concluding and summarizing. It's like look at this part. Modeling how to synthesizing in reading. Picture of water ripple used to show thinking prompts used for forming synthesis. At first I was thinking. Now I'm thinking. After reading I think. So in this picture we can imagine it is an illustration of synthesizing because before we synthesize a text we have to make a concluding. It means at first the thing that we have to do is we have to conclude a text. It means we have to think. I was think and now I'm thinking. It means summarizing of a text. So after summarizing of a text and concluding a text, we make decisions and we make a synthesizing by our own mind or own words. It is the illustration of synthesizing. And this is um, the examples because some materials will easy to understand with an example, and this is the example of synthesizing. Let's read together. In the past, opponents of immigration raised economic, facial, religious, and nationalistic objections or questions about large-scale immigration to the United States today. However, experts tell us that opposition to immigration is expressed almost exclusively in economic terms. For example, Dan Lacy, a workplace consultant, business journalist, and editor, found that research of immigration attitudes shows that the fear that some Americans have of losing their jobs to immigrants is the main reason for opposition to immigration today. In the same economic in the same economic vein, Thomas Muller said, an economist with the Urban Institute, points out the widespread concerns among Americans that the new immigrants use welfare or other public aid programs to such an extent that they are a financial burden on government and therefore a financially burden on taxpayers. With these two reasons expressly conveyed, it is easy to see that most objections to immigration now fall under economic realm. So in this text, guys, we can know that we can take a synthesizing by this word that nowadays many people in American become an opponents for immigrant to the United States. Why? It is has a reason why they are unagree to the immigrant to come to United States. The first reason is based on Dan Lacy said that many people in America lost their jobs because of immigrants come to the United States. And the second reason is based on what Thomas Muller said, an economics with Urban Institute, he said that the immigrants come to the United States just for being uh was that just for being the financial burden of government. So this is the two reasons why they are forbid or they are unagree to immigrant to come to United States. It is the synthesizing of this text. So in the last, this is conclusion of synthesizing. Synthesizing a text is the process of pulling together background knowledge, newly learned ideas, connections, inferences, and summaries into a complete and original understanding of text. Synthesizing a text is process of pulling together new learned connection, inferences, summaries into a complete and original understanding of text. So thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.